Our top political focus continues to remain the Congress crisis in Punjab. Well, is it really a crisis that's limited to Punjab now? With the top leadership, the G23 coming out once again and saying that they are not G Hazur 23. Ghulam Nabi Azad has written a letter calling for a CWC meeting. Kapil Sibal has addressed a press conference in which he's questioned the lack of leadership in the Congress party. The latest update that we have is that the Punjab Chief Minister, of course, has said that, there is nothing that can't be fixed. He's going to call on Navjot Singh Sidhu. This in the light of Navjot Singh Sidhu releasing a video message on Twitter talking about the fact that he's taken a stance against tainted leaders who've been resurrected in the Channi cabinet. The Punjab Chief Minister said, "I'm not rigid on appointments, so are more heads expected to roll by later this evening." That's a political development we're monitoring very closely. Meanwhile, there are of course questions of the top leadership. Remember, the Gandhi leadership first decided that they would do a dual power center formula with Captain Amrinder Singh remaining the chief ministerial face, Navjot Singh Sidhu being entrusted as the Congress president. That clearly was a formula that did not work out, leading to Captain Amrinder Singh stepping down. Charanjit Singh Channi, a Dalit face, being sworn in as the chief minister. Many political pundits believed it was a good decision by the Congress party. But now, of course, Navjot Singh Sidhu has resigned. He's refused to take his resignation back, according to sources. What really is going to be the strategy of the Congress party? Will they try and placate him and bring him back? Or is there a plan B to replace him? Who is going to be the chief ministerial face of the Congress party going into the elections, which is going to be taking place in just a short while from now? To talk more about the Congress crisis at the moment, we have Arati, Jerath, a senior journalist, joining us, and Jagtar, Singh, a senior journalist, former Punjab bureau chief of the Indian Express, who's going to be joining us in just a short while from now. Okay, he's also with us. Thank you both very much for being with us. Jagtar Singh, to you first. This crisis in the Congress party is not something that has, erupted in the last couple of weeks. This has been going on for months. And it does appear that whatever formulas have been worked out as solutions, whether it's a compromise candidate being put in the chief minister's chair, none of those formulas have worked. Is there a disconnect between what's happening in Punjab and what the central leadership in Delhi is deciding, in terms of the way forward?
First, the basics. Navjot Singh Sidhu was a loner, and the mobilization of decisions MLAs were done by Tirupat Bajwa, Sukhjinder Singh Randhawa, Charanjit Channi, all these people. Sidhu was PPCC chief and a leader. Channi emerged as a compromise candidate because Navjot Sidhu earlier blocked Sukhjinder Randhawa. Now Channi is introducing a new type of governance. Punjab's ruling class is arrogant and degenerated. In that situation, Channi is proving himself a different type of politician. Pro-people, Aam Aadmi. That will concern everybody at that level. The problem is now, delivery is the job of the chief minister. Navjot Sidhu wants to streamline the delivery system. That is not his prerogative. He can object when there is no delivery. He should have allowed Channi to deliver, and in case he had failed, then he should have intervened after 15-20 days. I think he acted too hastily. That is my impression.
Right. Arati, Jerath, the questions that have been asked by Kapil Sibal, the letter that's been written by Ghulam Nabi Azad calling for that CWC meet now point to the fact that it's not just Punjab that's imploding, it's a larger crisis within the Congress party.
Well, I think this crisis has been in the Congress party for many, many, many months. In fact, I really don't know what it dates back to, but we've been seeing since 2014 when the Congress plummeted to its lowest ever number in Parliament. And then in 2019 when they lost the elections for a second time, again came back with very few numbers. And Rahul Gandhi just upped and resigned as Congress president. So the Congress has been in crisis, for quite some time. And, I find it very strange what's happening in the Congress. On the one hand, Kapil Sibal says that there is no president. And he's right, because Sonia Gandhi is just an interim president. And Rahul Gandhi refuses to take on the role of the president, saying that I've resigned now and I'm not taking any responsibility. I'm just an ordinary MP. And yet, he's taking all the decisions. It was his and his sister's decision to appoint Navjot Singh Sidhu as the PCC chief.
Yes.
The choice of Channi was that of Rahul and Priyanka Gandhi. So if he's taking all these decisions, should he not step forward and take charge of the Congress party as its president? I mean, it is a bizarre situation that you have power without accountability, without responsibility. No party can run like that. So, and I really don't know what to say about the Congress crisis, because the Congress seems to have a death wish. I mean, look at it today. Punjab is in crisis. Elections are just 4 months away. Rahul Gandhi is in Kerala. Priyanka Vadra is in Lucknow. So, it's been left to Harish Rawat to handle everything. Harish Rawat has to fight an election in Uttaranchal, in Uttarakhand as well, So, what is the Congress thinking, really? In Uttarakhand, they actually have a chance, of winning. I've just come back from, Uttarakhand, and I was quite amazed to see the kind of presence, visible presence of the Congress all over. Hoardings, their offices are active, their flags are everywhere. But the main man is busy trying to, fight fires in Punjab.
Yes.
It is quite ridiculous. You really don't know which direction the Congress is moving in.
Speaking of which direction the Congress is moving in, Jagtar Singh, the big question at the moment, Mr. Singh, is about what should be the strategy of the Congress going forward when it comes to Navjot Singh Sidhu. Because they gave him the importance that they gave him when Captain Amrinder Singh was asked to step down. Today, are they in a position where they should placate him, or should he just be replaced?
The Congress has already been hit by what Navjot Singh Sidhu has done. Party was already losing. That's the reason Amrinder was changed and replaced by Channi. Navjot Sidhu has refused to act within the framework of party discipline. He should have talked to Channi before going public. There were no big issues. It is the responsibility of the Chief Minister to give results. Now the issue is what next. Efforts are on to settle down everything, but the mess initially has been created by the people in Delhi. That is the Gandhi family. They should have acted wisely, taking along every leader.
No, but what's happened has happened, of course. But what do you think is going to happen now, or what do you think that the Congress party should do now? Is it in their best interest to placate him, given that they've ruffled way too many feathers for him, or should they just go ahead with the plan B if they have one and replace him?
How long can the party placate one man? Let me tell you, Navjot Singh Sidhu was a loner. He had no group. The MLAs were mobilized by different people. Since he was close to Gandhi's and PPCC chief, he was brought in by decisions. There is the situation. Even today, he has no particular group.
Okay.
People, that's the reality of the situation.
Okay.
So, in case the Delhi decides to act tough, because damage has already been done.
Well, Delhi is currently half in Lucknow and half in Kerala. So what really is Delhi deciding is a very big question at the moment, because currently there are just questions that are being asked of the leadership. One doesn't really have answers on the way forward. But Arati, Jerath, very quickly, I'll give you the last word on, the Congress's chaos is whose gain. Because very interestingly, the Delhi Chief Minister has hit out at the Congress Chief Minister, Mr. Channi, today. But the truth is that there is a lot of, infighting within the Aam Aadmi Party as well, which is why they've not been able to announce a chief ministerial face. So who gains from this chaos, really?
I think that's really the big question mark in Punjab. It should be the Aam Aadmi Party. 5 years ago, 2017, the Aam Aadmi Party seemed to be the new party bursting on the scene in Punjab, after having lost the elections in 2017, it somehow seemed to have lost steam. I really don't know who gains. The Bakalis are still fairly discredited. I think there are really no takers for the Badals, not too many. I mean, they do have, a following, but it's not large enough, I think, really, for them to stage a comeback.
Okay.
The BJP, unfortunately, was always a small player in Punjab. And now, after the farm laws and the kind of farmers' agitation we've seen, it's really lost ground. I don't see, I think the BJP has become a bad word in Punjab.
Well, are we then heading towards some kind of a fractured mandate? I think that's going to be a very interesting election to watch out for.
Yes.
But very quickly, before I move on, Jagtar Singh, Captain Amrinder Singh is in Delhi, and there's a lot of speculation on who he's meeting and what he's doing. Any comments on that?
Simple, the election outcome would be decided by farm struggle. Whomsoever Amrinder meets, whatever he does.
Okay.
Farms, he creates his own party, whatever it is. It won't matter much now. He is not in a position to work that hard. Had he been in a position to work hard, he should have run the government rather than outsourcing the governance. In case he had even functioned about 25% of his capacity, the results would have been different.
Okay.
He's a wonderful person that way.
What's his game plan? What's his game plan?
He himself is consulting his associates.
Okay.
So nothing can be said at the moment.
All right, nothing can be said at the moment, and that's a statement that holds true for so many different developments in Punjab. Thank you both very much for joining us.